So, welcome, David. Would you like to introduce yourself to our viewers?
Absolutely. So, my name is David Taylor-Klaus. I have been a professional coach serving a global audience for 17 years. When people ask what I do, I never say I'm a coach. The way I describe what I do is I reintroduce successful entrepreneurs and senior executives to their families. So, my work has always been about that, given our conversation, the very human core elements. How do we get better at being who we be, who we are at our core, so we can do better and be better out in the world? So our conversation today sort of follows that beautifully.
No, I think that's fabulous. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for sharing that.
thank
And
you.
I love the way that you talk about your practice or your mission in the world. So, our fireside chat today is informal and really focused on reflection. So, looking back at 2025. So, if we start from that position or from that place, um, and could you just think about, or is there an observation that you've had at some point through the year where you've noticed or observed a meaningful connection between being human, the opportunities of involving technology, and coaching?
So it's fascinating. I just had the experience of going to the International Coaching Federation's global conference. So it was a Converge 25. We got to see each other. And I realized I had a really remarkable experience there. There are folk within that are involved with ICF that I have been working with and developing relationships with for the last 10 to 15 years. And I realized as I set foot in at Converge that I had never seen any of them in person. We had never shared air. It had only been on, Brady Bunch squares on Zoom. And it was astounding how close and connected and deep our connection was. And when I got to see these folks who are strewn across the globe in person, it was really an opportunity for me to realize how much technology has enabled the expansion of our world. I mean, I look at the idea that the world is flat. Book is now decades old. But that's the truth. This coaching community is stitched together across great distance because of in technology enabling us to connect. And as technology has advanced and the ability for us to have those deep connections is so rich.
I love that. And so if I think about that in terms of expanding our opportunities to be human, to make connections, there's also in my mind a similar word uh, I'm thinking of the phrase liberation because I feel
Mm,
liberated as as a context of technology to be more of who I want to be more of the human that I want to be. So I think
yeah.
that's those two words, expansion and liberation. Those are good things to reflect on.
Well, and I think, to a great extent, I'm a better person. I'm better at being me because of some of these relationships. And I never would have had them without the technology, nor would have had the opportunity to continue and deepen them. So, yeah, I think there's something so powerful about expanding our involvement in the world as
Mm,
well as who we be. So,
hmm hmm And the opportunity with technology, especially as it's moving into the coaching space, there is an opportunity to experiment and learn. And so, as I think about that, or as we think about that, what principles guide us in keeping AI human centered, ethical, and inclusive?
oh my goodness. So I come from the tech space. I had a tech company before I started getting involved in the internet strategy and web development. So I've got two careers in technology preceding coaching. And from the very beginning, the soapbox I would stand on and scream was that silicon is supposed to serve the carbon, not the other way around. And I think that there are times where we get so excited about what technology can do, we don't pay attention to what it should do and how it should be oriented. And as we look at particularly AI, because as much as we understand it, we don't really understand it. There's a lot of its development and its growth and the arc that's coming that we just don't understand yet. So I think it's critical that we look at what's the purpose of AI? What's the purpose of this rollout? How is it making our lives better? And how is it making us better at being human? It's calling upon all of us to be even more human because it's changing what we think we need to do out in the world because so many things that we do can now be handled by the technology that leaves us the things that it can't do, which is the essence of our humanity. So I think the first piece is that silicon serves carbon, not the other way around. And also, let's go back to Adler, which is the core of the foundation of coaching, that people are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. The coaching world has added the word naturally. But as we hold ourselves and as we hold humans as creative, resourceful, and whole, that is something uniquely human. We lean into each other for the answers that we already have, as opposed to turning to an LLM or an AI to get answers. We have them. Our work is to help surface them. So those are
Yeah,
two core principles for me.
that's fabulous. And then if you think about what that might unlock for us, so if we imagine one shift that could positively shape the coaching profession or the next chapter, what would that look like?
A very unpopular opinion. Ethics and standards, full stop. I think that we are pursuing through a capitalistic lens the rollout and the emergence of all this technology without having any international guidelines or standards or agreements like the Geneva Convention for guardrails around the technology and what it can, could, would, and should do and what it shouldn't. And I
Mm.
don't think, as we've rolled out, as research was done on chemical weapons, as research was done on nuclear weapons, there are always conversations about how to keep humanity safe. And I think we're letting capitalism run away with our future.
And that actually perhaps is an invitation for we're both part of the ICF AI Council. And so I
Yes,
wonder
sir.
if that's one of the things that we should bring forward. I know we are already working in ways that we can to be ethical and responsible and define standards within the coaching profession. But what you're talking to there is the fact that actually there's a wider need for humanity to have that at a global scale.
Absolutely. This is not something AI, despite all the histrionics between governments about who should have what chips and that technology, AI has global implications, period.
Mm,
And if we're not paying attention to how we manage this or oversee it or guide it at a global scale, we're doing ourselves a grave disservice.
mm, mm. And yet, we talk about AI being the opportunity. It's not just a tech shift, it's actually inviting us to reimagine what it means to be human. And then in the context, it's helping us think about the future of coaching. What is our profession likely to
Mhm.
evolve to? Probably at a quicker rate than we're ready for. But, I think the evolution of coaching may be on a 2 to 5 year horizon rather than longer than that. Do you have any
Oh,
views on that?
it's always faster than we think, isn't it?
Mm,
It's slower than we want and faster than we think. And I look at medicine as a really good example. There are, as of 2 years ago, 5,000 peer-reviewed medical journal articles released every day globally. So, how in God's name do physicians keep up with, even if it's just their lane, their
mm,
individual specialization? It's impossible to do. Within the next couple of years, doctors who don't use AI will be guilty of malpractice because that's the only way to stay up to date. Now, let's leave out hallucination or model collapse. Let's presume the validity of the data. Well, it's the same for coaching. I think it's going to be critical for coaches to be able to harness AI in better service of their clients, in service of our own growth. It can be an augmentation and expansion tool. And I think we're still at that early stage where lots of coaches are wobbly about whether or not it's going to kill our profession or grow our profession or what. And I think those of us who don't lean in are going to be left behind. So ICF and EMCC and
AC.
AC, thank you. I just lost the alphabet mafia. Have a real responsibility to help coaches understand what's there. And I think because we coach those and serve those who lead others, we have an opportunity, if not responsibility, to push that understanding out beyond our reach.
Yes, and I heard somebody the other day talk about AI like a wave. So it's a huge wave, and you can either swim with it or you can swim against it. And so I think, yeah, it's our opportunity to swim with it, and to help, as you say, if coaches are not yet familiar with the opportunities to leverage AI, it's not only going to be important for their practice, but it is also part of everyday life now. And so their clients are interacting with AI for life, for work, and that's going to be an increasing kind of volume of space or usage, if you like.
I love that you brought up the wave analogy because ever been to the beach, you know that waves don't come in singles, right? And we have AI is a variety of waves. And as new things roll out, as companies go away, as things consolidate, we are wave upon wave upon wave. We've passed VUCA a long time ago. And
Mm,
I think the hard part is helping people be comfortable with what's coming and comfortable with the volatility of what's happening with the information.
mm,
And I think grounding us in our humanity will help make us enable us to be more ready to handle what's coming.
mm. I am going to move into talking about what we might do next year. Although this is a reflection space, I think just our
Right.
conversation here is just to say that ICF and through the coalition, the work that we're doing in the coalition, we will be looking for ways that we can help coaches make sense of the market. So there's a lot of tools moving into our space. So we're looking at how can we help make sense of those and provide assurances in those spaces. In the space of AI literacy, all of us are doing work to provide educational programs that help people get familiar, experiment with, and become more practical users of AI. So I think there's a lot of help that we're planning to provide this community from next year onwards that will answer some of those concerns or risks that we've highlighted in the conversation so far. Is
Yeah.
there anything else? Yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
One of the things I like about the way that the ICF AI Advisory Council is approaching this, and the coalition in particular, is you brought together multiple global organizations. And there have been so many periods in coaching where there have been little rings of territoriality. And I think this is an opportunity to bring the coaching organizations together. And I think it's critical. We may differ on how we approach membership, but how we approach the human-centered nature of coaching is super important, right? Coming to some agreement, I should say, let me say, come to some alignment on how we're going to approach it. Because then we have the ability to make the coaching community more informed and therefore more comfortable. The better we can inform, the better they can harness it. And that is what makes things better for our clients. And that's why we do this.
Absolutely. Yeah. For me, the realization of, AI and its the nature of how it will change the coaching profession. So the scale at which it could change it, the speed at which it can change it. But I also think there's some fundamental things that it could change about what we believe to be coaching today. And therefore, if we work together, we've got a much better opportunity to anticipate what those things are and then put things in place that helps us, you know, as you mentioned, the carbon silicon thing earlier on, it's in service of us. So in service of the
Right.
profession, in service of our clients, actually.
Well, and you and I have joked about this before that AI is going to make our lives very convenient, right up until the machines rise up and kill us. And for those of us who are Gen X or late Boomer, growing up with Asimov and all the movies that are required viewing in machine language, I think it's hard to get that out of the cultural psyche. So taking away some of the misunderstandings and the myths around it, I think is important. We've had people push back with every advancement. I mean, the pushback on the internet was how much it would depersonalize business, right? There's been so much pushback on new things. We don't really have time to push back because every time we blink, another wave comes. So, how do we, instead of just predicting what's coming and how do we handle it, how do we move into a creative state? How are
Mm,
we actually creating the future instead of just fielding what's coming at us?
mm,
Andreas Kraft out of Switzerland does brilliant work around hope, and one of the most important elements of having hope is the difference between feeling like the future is coming at you and you're just trying to handle whatever comes at you, and feeling you have some agency in and desire to impact the future. And the more we can build that, a quintessentially human belief that we have an impact on our world, absolutely. I think that's the biggest gift that we can give our community and those that we serve is increase that sense of agency and autonomy in our future and therefore build up hope.
absolutely. 100%. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would want to share with our viewers today?
Oh, I think we've had a great little fireside today.
Just honestly, the themes that you've surfaced are they're really valuable for now, but actually, I think there are things that we can take forward. And I talk about agency in my podcasts that I do. So this is all great thematic stuff that we will act on. We will do something with it. So thank you
Wonderful.
very much for your time today, David.
Always my pleasure. Thanks, Susan.